Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. Now, I was about to go and sing a song, but I began to think about you and how the wonderful things of life, 99% of you are missing. And I was wondering if there's something that I could say before I leave that would be an aid in facilitating and awakening to a different awareness. And so I find myself back here. And I say to all of you who are listening, all of you, I know this will not affect all of you, but at least it's open to all of you, so wherever you might be that will can hear it. What's going on in our country today? The impeachment, corruption, supposedly while at eradicating corruption and at the same time creating our own form of corruption. These things, and people sitting back saying, well, it's not impeachment, it's not this and not that. Well, whatever decision is made, it represents you, the people. All of you, the people. If he is impeached and thrown out of office, it represents you, all of the people. If he says okay and he keeps right on and then you put him in office again, it represents you and all the people. But the fact of the matter is that this kind of activity is inconsistent with peace and for everybody. You got to be justice. No justice, no peace. It doesn't adhere to the basic principles for freedom and prosperity and joy of life and the fulfillment of dreams for everybody, which is the main concern of the Creator who created this beautiful earth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking to all of you. I don't know where I'm going to go with this, but I'm going to go where it takes me, and I hope you listen. Has put this earth and all of its abilities, and we the people, every living thing has a basic principle for its existence. Every living thing got a basic principle for its existence. And as long as those principles are maintained, that existence is evident. When something goes wrong, then there's going to be an altered activity. There's going to be an altered outcome. What? I'm not sure. But it's not the same. And so, we the people who are here, in order for us to live as we are in heaven, as if we are the ultimate epitome of God by our life, the outcome. That's a choice. But it's the result of basic principles that's being adhered to. But now, that doesn't mean you have to hold to it. There's another choice. It's called your choice. And I hear there are close to 800 or 8 billion people on earth. Now, can you imagine 8 billion choices? And everyone thinking that their choice is the right choice? And in truth, it is their choice, the right choice for them. And it can do exactly what it's going to do if implemented. However, that does not negate the reality that for every last one of them, there are certain essentials that are common. This has nothing to do with different choices. Your choice, this choice, your choice, this choice, your choice. This is natural for survival. It's natural for continued existence. A purpose for being here. A career, a job, healthcare, education, never a problem. Shelter, food, clothing, never a problem. the most beautiful infrastructure, transportation, vacation, all of these things never a problem. And it all comes, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me, without lying, without cheating, without stealing, without killing, without being hated, without hating, without being a racist, without being a bigot, without causing terror, without war. These things don't exist. And one other thing that does not exist is money. You don't need money. You are a family, and everything that you do it for the outcome of the family. And because there's so many, and so much love, there's an abundance that there's never a short supply. And though there are those that believe in their own understanding that things run out, I stand before you telling you that you're standing on the earth. And if it's here, run out, don't worry about it. Now, having said these things to you, what's my point? My point is this. If we understand life enough, if we understand that there's a power that's really in control of everything, that we can't see that power, but we see all of the evidence is around us, even our participation, it gives us evidence of that power that we can't see. And when we think about in our whole lifetime, we have been following the dictates, we've been following the paths of those who have no anything like the God we talk about. Nothing like that. And we follow them. And they've been taking us, they say, to all of these places that I just got through articulating that you should go and has already been prepared for you. They keep saying it. But it has never happened. And for those few that might have gotten a chance to experience it just a little bit, for each of you that got that opportunity, there was an equal amount who lost it. It's like when you said you were going to go into civil rights for black people because they had been so persecuted in the past. And so you were going to make sure that some of them, more of them got into jobs, got into positions that they had been denied. And that made them feel good. That made them feel that they were participating. That made them feel that they were a part of something. But at the same time, on the other hand, it means on the other side of town, equally, that number of whites would be denied the access. They would be denied the opportunity. So what was wrong on the black side of town yesterday, in your efforts to correct it, you make it wrong on the white side of town today. What kind of fix is that? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Is that a fix? That ain't no fix. That's a game. Think about South Africa. Think about the way apartheid affected people in South Africa. I know you don't really know, but you heard about it. You heard about Mandela and all that kind of stuff. You heard about the times that Mandela went to jail and spent all that time in jail for standing up for some basic principles that were just that important, who became a stumbling block to what he considered as being evil. He became one that was real. He didn't have to die. They didn't kill him, but they gave him a many number of years. A lot of those guys who died probably would rather had those years, or maybe a lot of them just would have been glad to be dead than do all those years. But the point is, that's what's happening. South Africa, you got these apartheid effects on people. So you come around and you get, make some changes. You get a black president, and you kind of make the door swing wide open, or allow a few more blacks to do this, a few more blacks to do that. And that looks good on the one hand, but on the other hand, you find yourself you got just as many whites moving out into the shanty town. It was wrong for blacks, and it's wrong for whites. It is wrong. It is wrong. Stuff that's designed to work for some is not from God. The only thing that works for some from God is those unique the ideas and dreams and aspirations and wants that individuals have that does not conflict with other people and other people don't want them. You can have them. So I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, when we can flow like that, when we can express our understanding of life like that, then if somebody come in that's a little bit different than we understand them to be, you know, like we used to say somebody's gay. We had that homophobic reality in our own existence. We're nervous. Well, if that's the way you feel, I tell you right now, you know you feel that way because you've been taught that way. But this is a new day that we're talking about now. We're talking about God's way. And so in it, and when I just mentioned the LGBT group because they are on the move. They're doing something. They're coming out and they're standing up. I left that last letter off, but that's okay. I can't think of it right now. Then there are other people that fall in those areas of prejudice. You know what the hate groups used to call the Jew or whatever you want to call the black, whatever, all of these other things. They don't exist anymore. Those prejudices, those biases. Because they were fed off the idea that some are better than others. And now we know that the best you can get is the best you can use. And that is by being true to the power that you can't see. And so, if people in our community do things that others of us don't do, it's not hurting us. God might not like it. And by your understanding of God, God does not like it. But let me say to you, my friends, my sisters, and my brothers, God has everything in motion. Everything is already fixed to work itself out. If God has a problem with any individual or any group of people, God will work it out. In other words, if there are people who are practicing homosexuality in your community, they to us are no different than any of us that don't practice it. You can't tell the difference between it, the way we treat people. We're not prejudiced like that. Our only prejudice is this. If we don't like it, we don't engage in it. And if it's wrong, we leave that to God. That's God's business. That's God's business. If somebody needs to die, that's God's business. If somebody needs to be killed, that's God's business. He don't need you, and he don't need a gun. If somebody needs to be punished, that's God's business. But one thing I do say, we don't have to worry about prisons with jails for people who was lying and stealing. People don't do that anymore. They don't have any need to do that. But there might be an occasion where somebody want to execute some violence on somebody. Now that we're not going for. You're causing pain and suffering on others. Yeah, we will subtract you from the community and put you in a place where you don't have access to cause that. And it might help you to recognize that being amongst people might be a little bit better than being separated from them. Now, that will be still followed. You don't get no free ride from that. Now, if you are rehabilitated, you get back into the community and enjoy the rest of heaven. But heaven ain't putting over that. And if you're not, you can end up being exiled to a place in the world where they do that kind of stuff. Is that why we're on earth? Exiled here? Because we've been kicked out of that level of heavenly consciousness because we ain't ready for it? Well, I say if that's the key, then let us be ready for it. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, I know I kind of messed you up a little bit. I talked to 2 or 3 different groups of people here tonight. And that is the way it came out. But the bottom line is this. Every last one of you got the right, the God-given right to experience heaven. And when I say heaven, I'm talking about your idea of the best life imaginable for you. your idea of the best life imaginable for you. When I'm speaking about heaven, I'm talking about the fulfillment of your dreams. And no one on earth is here to harm you, but to be an instrument to help fulfill your needs and your requirements. As you have the doors open to engage yourself, that the world might not be denied just a taste of you. And so here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in all of this, loving one another. That old thing about money, somebody better than others, and somebody, we don't have to worry about that anymore, because they didn't know. We were a part of that at one time. We didn't know. We were taught that. And as we were taught, so were we. And right now we're getting a new education, a brand new lesson that you don't know that much about, but it is so real till every little step of the way makes the way much plainer and much clearer. That precept, that concept, that vision is right there clearly for all to see as we walk this merry way, guided by that new spirit that can't be seen but now is alive. Where? In you. Church members, I want to say something to you. God is not alive unless He, or God, whatever God is definitely invisible. But God must be, to have any major effect, alive in in you. Boy, you're really important. Just think about God in you and those wonderful things that you've been afraid to do, that you've been held back for one reason or another. Now you are loose to do it, and it is all now recognized by you and others that the world can't do without it any longer. And rather than stand to block you, it's there to pave the way. My friend, this is a brand new day. So the American system of abuse and messing over people and over our people here in this country is going to come to a halt. But in order for it to come to a halt, it would have to come to a halt by you. The problems of the world today were suggested by a different spirit, and it was implemented by you, we, the people. We, everything that exists that's evil on earth today, all of that evil stuff was made manifest by we, the people. We are the cause of the lying, the cheating, the stealing, the killing, the crime, the violence, the prejudice, the race, all of those things, because we followed a system other than the system of life. We followed our system. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this your time. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.